Hey there, future homeowner. Getting ready to dive into the wild world of buying your first place, huh? And wow, you weren't kidding about doing your research. We've got articles, we've got videos, looks like we've got the whole shebang here. But hey, that's what we're here for, right? To help you cut through all the noise and zero in on the stuff that really matters. Think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet to homeownership.
And, one thing that really jumped out at me going through all this material is how much everyone stresses the importance of starting with your why.
Mhm.
Like before you even think about browsing listings or hitting up open houses, you got to be crystal clear on what's driving you to buy a house right now.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of it all, right? But like that So Many Moves video pointed out, you can end up going down all sorts of rabbit holes if you haven't really nailed down your why. So, what is it for you? Is it about finally putting down roots, maybe needing more space for a growing family? Or is it just, the sweet, sweet dream of saying bye-bye to landlords forever?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that why, that's going to be your fuel, especially when you hit those bumps in the road. And it ties directly into being financially prepared, which, let's be real, might not be as exciting as like picking out paint colors,
Mm.
but it's absolutely essential.
Oh, 100%. That Investopedia article did a really good job of breaking down this thing called debt to income ratio, DTI for short. Basically, it all comes down to how much of your income is already spoken for by, other debt payments. Lenders use this to figure out how much house you can actually handle, not just what you might qualify for on paper.
And a lot of lenders use this thing called the 28-36 rule. So what that means is your total housing cost, that's your mortgage payment, property taxes, insurance, the whole nine yards, shouldn't be more than 28% of your gross monthly income. And then your total debt, including those housing costs, that shouldn't go over 36% of your gross income. Knowing these numbers up front can really save you a lot of stress and potential disappointment down the line.
Oh, tell me about it. Nothing worse than that feeling of being house poor. Remember that term from the Sir Money Moves video? Owning a home should be exciting, not a constant struggle to make ends meet. And that's exactly why so many experts, and it came up in a bunch of the articles you sent too, recommend having a super clear budget in place. And not just for the down payment either. We're talking about closing costs, ongoing expenses like property taxes and insurance, and of course, those inevitable unexpected repairs that pop up.
Exactly. Because being a homeowner, well, it comes with its own set of costs that you might not have as a renter, like that leaky faucet, the broken appliance. That's all on you now. It's all part of the deal. But being prepared for those expenses makes a world of difference.
Sure.
Have you thought about maybe setting up a separate house fund specifically for those kinds of costs?
Dude, that's such a good idea. I wish I'd thought of that when I first bought my place. It's easy to forget that, life doesn't just stop after you buy a house. You might have other goals down the line, maybe starting a family, switching careers, or finally taking that dream vacation you've been saving for. It's all about striking that balance between achieving your homeownership dreams and, actually enjoying life.
Totally agree. And that's where getting pre-approved for a mortgage can really make all the difference. It's more than just a quick estimate. It's a solid commitment from a lender saying exactly how much they're willing to loan you, and it's based on your verified financial situation.
Yeah, it's like having a golden ticket in this crazy competitive housing market. The Win the House You Love video really hammered that point home, didn't they? Sellers are way more likely to take your offer seriously when you've got that pre-approval in your back pocket.
Absolutely. It proves you're not just window shopping. You're a serious buyer who's ready to move forward. Plus, knowing exactly how much you can borrow helps you stay realistic and stick to your budget right from the start. Speaking of which, have you given much thought to the different types of mortgages out there?
Oh man, don't even get me started on all the mortgage options out there. It's like fixed rate, adjustable rate, FHA, VA, conventional. Seriously, how's anyone supposed to keep it all straight?
Right. It can definitely feel like you're trying to learn a whole new language. But the good news is it's really all about finding what works best for your situation, your finances, your goals. Each type of mortgage has its own, like, personality. It's kind of like, I don't know, choosing the right tool for the job.
I like that. And it's just like you wouldn't go out and buy the first power drill you see without doing a little comparison shopping, right? That's why the Sir Money Moves video made such a big deal about putting in the effort to find the best mortgage rates and terms.
For sure. They actually made a really smart comparison. Like, think about how you shop for, oh, I don't know, clothes or gadgets. You compare prices, you hunt for sales, you might even read reviews, right? Well, shopping for a mortgage shouldn't be any different. Even what seems like a tiny difference in interest rates can end up saving you or costing you literally thousands of dollars over the life of your loan.
That's exactly why both the Bankrate and Investopedia articles were all about comparing offers from at least 3 different lenders. Don't be shy about asking questions. You really want to make sure you understand the interest rate, the loan terms, any fees involved, the whole 9 yards before you commit to anything.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, right? And speaking of which, remember how we were talking about pre-approval earlier? Well, having that pre-approval in hand gives you even more leverage when you're comparing those offers from different lenders.
Oh, for sure. It's like you're walking in and saying, hey, I'm pre-approved, I'm ready to roll, so impress me with your best rates. Okay, so let's say you've got your finances locked in, you've found a lender you trust, and now you're finally ready to start the fun part, looking at houses.
This is where things get really exciting, right? But it's important to balance that excitement with, like, a good dose of practicality. You know, that 21 first-time homebuyer tips article made a really good point about not letting yourself get too emotionally attached to a house too early in the game.
Oh, I know that feeling.
It's easy to fall in love with a gorgeous kitchen or a backyard that's perfect for, like, barbecues. But at the end of the day, this is a huge financial decision.
Ugh, tell me about it. When I bought my first place, I totally fell for this adorable little cottage. It had a clawfoot tub, a fireplace. I was gone.
Yeah.
But then the inspection report came back. Turns out that charming cottage had some serious foundation issues. It was a hard lesson to learn about, separating those heart-fluttering feelings from the actual practical realities of buying a house.
And that's exactly where having a clear strategy can really make all the difference. The Win the House You Love video had this great suggestion about creating what they called a needs versus wants list.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So you start by listing out your non-negotiables. Like, what are your absolute must-haves in a home? Maybe it's a certain number of bedrooms, a dedicated home office, or a fenced-in yard if you've got furry friends.
And then there are the wants. Those would be nice features, but not necessarily deal breakers. Like, sure, a hot tub would be amazing, but if it came down to it, could I live without it? Probably.
Exactly. Having that list can really help you stay focused and avoid getting, like, swept away in those bidding wars or making compromises that you might regret later.
It's all about making smart choices, even when your heart is telling you to go all in on that fixer-upper with the questionable plumbing. And speaking of navigating this whole crazy process, pretty much every single source we looked at stressed the importance of having our rock star real estate agent on your side.
100%. A good agent, especially in today's market, they're worth their weight in gold, especially for first-time buyers. They'll help you find properties that actually match what you're looking for. They'll walk you through the whole world of offers and negotiations, and they can give you really valuable insights into the local market.
For sure. But with so many real estate agents out there, how do you even begin to find the right one for you?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The good news is the sources you shared had some really solid advice. A great place to start is by asking around. Talk to your friends, your family, your coworkers, anyone who's bought or sold a home recently. Those personal recommendations can be super valuable. You can also check out online reviews and look for agents who have a proven track record in the specific areas you're interested in.
And don't be afraid to, interview a few different agents before you make a decision. It's kind of like dating, right? You want to find someone you click with who really gets what you're looking for and, most importantly, who you feel comfortable trusting with this huge decision.
Exactly. You want someone who's a good communicator, who listens to your concerns, and who makes you feel confident and supported throughout the entire process.
And here's a little insider tip I picked up from that Money Moves video. They were pretty adamant about not using the same real estate agent to represent both the buyer and the seller. It's called dual agency, and while it's legal in a lot of places, it can get a little messy.
Yeah, it's kind of like having the same referee for both teams, right? You want someone who's 100% on your side, who's fighting to get you the best possible deal, not trying to balance the interests of both parties.
Makes total sense. Okay, so you found your agent, you found the perfect house. Now comes the really nerve-wracking part. Making an offer. I don't know about you, but my stomach always does flips when it's offer time.
It's definitely a nerve-wracking step. You're putting yourself out there, hoping the seller likes what they see, but also knowing there's a chance of counteroffers or even, flat-out rejection.
Ugh, don't even mention the C word. Counteroffers can be brutal. But one thing that really stuck with me from that Win the House You Love video was their suggestion about having your lender actually call the seller's agent right after you submit an offer.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's like a subtle way of saying, hey, we're serious, we're pre-approved, and we're ready to move fast.
Right. It establishes credibility right off the bat, and it can give you a real advantage, especially in a competitive market.
Okay, so let's say the stars align, the offer gets accepted. Time to pop the champagne, right?
Hmm,
Not quite time to celebrate just yet. We still have a couple of biggies to tackle. The home inspection and, dun dun dun, the appraisal.
right. Can't forget about those.
So first up, the home inspection. Think of it like a head-to-toe checkup for your potential new digs.
Exactly.
You've got this qualified inspector who's going to go through the entire property, and I mean everything. They're looking for any potential problems, anything that could come back to bite you later.
It's all about uncovering those hidden issues, the stuff that could turn into, like, major repair bills down the road.
The Investopedia article had a really handy list of what inspectors typically look for. We're talking like structural stuff, any signs of water damage or pests, electrical or plumbing issues, you name it.
And remember, no house is perfect. Even brand new construction can have its quirks. The important thing is to identify any major red flags, anything that could impact your safety, the value of the home, or even your ability to get financing.
So true. Now, let's say the inspection does uncover some issues. What then?
Well, you've got options. You can ask the seller to fix those issues before closing. You could try to negotiate a credit to cover the cost of repairs. Or, depending on the situation, you might even be able to renegotiate the purchase price.
Right. The inspection report can be a pretty powerful bargaining tool. Okay, so inspection's done. Now it's appraisal time. This one can be a little scary because this is where they determine what the house is actually worth.
And the lender wants to be sure that the property is actually worth the amount of money they're giving you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And here's where things can get a little, shall we say, interesting. Because if the appraisal comes in lower than the purchase price you've agreed on, well, that can throw a wrench in the whole deal.
Ugh, the dreaded low appraisal is like a nightmare scenario. The Win the House You Love video actually shared a story about these buyers who were all set to close on their dream home, and then, bam, the appraisal came in $10,000 below the purchase price.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah, it was a whole ordeal, but in the end, they were able to renegotiate with the seller and salvage the deal.
Well, that's good to hear. But it just goes to show you that even with pre-approval, there can still be surprises during the appraisal process.
For sure. But okay, let's assume the inspection is clean, the appraisal is good to go. We're in the home stretch now. It's closing time, baby.
You did it. You jumped through all the hoops, you dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, and now you're finally about to hold those keys in your hand.
It really is like the grand finale, isn't it? All that hard work has led up to this moment.
The Investopedia article did a nice job of outlining what to expect at closing. Just be prepared to, sign a ton of paperwork.
There you go.
You'll probably be meeting with your agent, the seller's agent, maybe some attorneys, people from the title company, the lender.
It can feel a little overwhelming, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely can.
Yeah.
But your agent will be right there with you every step of the way,
Yeah.
walking you through the whole thing. And then, once everything is signed, sealed, and delivered, congratulations, you are officially a homeowner.
Woo! Time to break out the champagne! And hey, even though we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive, remember, the learning never really stops, especially when it comes to being a homeowner.
So true. Whether it's learning how to tackle those DIY projects, figuring out the ins and outs of property taxes, or even just figuring out the best way to keep your new place in tip-top shape, there's always something new to learn.
It's like that folder idea from the Win the House You Love video, remember? Start a dedicated folder, maybe even a whole filing cabinet for all your important house stuff, mortgage paperwork, those inspection and appraisal reports, insurance policies, warranties, basically anything and everything related to your home.
It's like building your homeowner's toolkit. That way you've got everything you need right at your fingertips.
I love it.
But hey, even though we're wrapping up this deep dive, remember, you've got this. You've put in the work, you're asking all the right questions, and you've got a whole team of experts in your corner.
Exactly. Soak it all in, enjoy the journey, and get ready to celebrate this incredible milestone, becoming a homeowner. And hey, if you ever want to geek out over more home buying tips or just swap homeowner stories, you know where to find us.